And Rishi Valmiki, Rishi Vyas, this country has produced, you know, different people who could understand human beings, who could understand their core, not just their material needs, not just their financial needs, not just their geographical differences. These are people who mapped human lives, and they also mapped human souls. And you know, based on this knowledge, we used to do so many things. But somehow, since we have lost connection, it's time to rebuild. Now, what is spirituality? Spirituality is the science of one's own potentials. And I look at everything from spirituality point of view. Spirituality is basically my attitude. It's the way I look at the world. Because what I see is, for example, when I start teaching meditation, when I start teaching philosophy to people, or when I start teaching some practices, what I see is, uh, a child of 5 years and a gentleman who has seen life all through and through, maybe 95 years by now, they find some commonality. They are together. They are together. They say the same bondage. They say the same feeling, and they try to look into their heart as to what is there. As to what is there. And what I now find is, there used to be a time, past 100 or 200 years, and I came face to face with the truth, encountered the truth. We call jamkabet in Nepali, and there's a better word, ruburu in Urdu. When you come ruburu, face to face with the truth, my God, it suckles you from within. And that day, all my beliefs died. Let me tell you, only truth remained. Truth comes to you when you get rid of dirty beliefs. That's not only my belief, this is my realization. That's why, after this, when we started Jivan Began, when I started teaching spirituality, we never hand over belief to anyone. No superstition, no mala, no tika, no dresses, nothing. Just be your own. Because spirituality is the science of your soul. It's nothing to do with your body. It has so much to do with your body. But then spirituality understands no differentiation. There's no discrimination. There's no gender discrimination in spirituality, no caste, no tradition differences, no religious differences. All differences are superficial. This is what we live, And then we started, when we started with Jivan Began, we started programs, training programs that help people question their beliefs, question their own life. And slowly, now what I see is people who come to Jivan Began, more than 2/3 of them are youths. But what they say is, after you come to Jivan Began, everyone becomes a youth. Everyone becomes young. Because my definition of youth is something different. What I say, youth is, if you think it can be done, something can be done, and if you're ready for it, then you are young. If you think you cannot do anything, then you are pretty old. I think nature wants to put you aside, maybe recycle bin, that is what you call death. Okay. So youth, young people are people who can question everything, who can put in 24 hours, who can burn midnight oil. Not just that, they are witness to their own soul. They don't believe in anything. They question everything, but they are very, very, very authentic. For example, my daughter fights with me sometimes, we sometimes we engage in debate for hours and hours and hours. I never say I'm your father, so you have to trust me, you have to believe me. No, I don't say this, because all of us are human beings, and you grow when you question. I grow when I question. If I don't question, I don't grow. If you don't question, you don't grow. And at some time, in my life, what I realized is, when you start questioning everything, you reach a point when you surrender. But that surrender has to be the pinnacle of your experience. It cannot be the beginning. The question has to be the beginning. But then slowly that, you are surrendered to the whole of life. You surrender to the whole of cosmos, the universe. It's so beautiful to be living. It's so beautiful to live. Even this living, even this breath is so beautiful. So beautiful. And the cultural gap happens because we don't understand each other. We don't try to understand each other. I think both of us, the new generation and the old generation, they both are equally responsible. But then this cultural gap has widened, over the last 50 years and last 20 years, after we had this there's something that you call mobile with you. Okay, it has widened like anything. But what I now see is, youngsters also have to understand their parents, their grandparents now, because they have so many things with them which they are unable to express, because they don't find the right way of communicating with youngsters. That's why Jivan Began is a bridge. Here we communicate with everyone because we are open-hearted. Jivan Began is a not-for-profit center. It is a social service. It's a spiritual center. So we basically communicate with everyone. And you will be puzzled, maybe sometimes positively, that I don't believe in any tradition, but I believe in one tradition. Once you know your soul, which is Sanatan, the soul is Sanatan. Sanatan means eternal. Then only you become part of Sanatan Dharma, not before that. This is my firm realization. When I was doing my CA, when I was doing my undergrad, you know, uh, the college wanted me to write down my religion. I used to write a question mark there because I do not know. I do not know who I am. I haven't experienced what Lord Krishna experienced. I haven't experienced what Lord Shiva had to say. I let me experience this first, and then I can declare who I am. Today, I can write I'm a Sanatan Dharmavalambi without any doubt, from the bottom of my heart. I can say that very, very clearly. This, so cultural revolution today, you know, can come if you start exploring your being, if you start exploring what you are made of, what you are made of. And once we start exploring ourselves, what we find is there's so much of creativity within us. You know, another name for human being is creativity. Absolutely creative. You can partner with God in creativity. You can partner with God in creativity. So much there. Another thing, there's a reservoir of health. There's a reservoir of happiness within us. Simple meditation can explore that. Very simple meditation method can explore that. There's a reservoir of willpower, the love. If you love someone, you may not agree. There's so many differences. Still, you love each other. It doesn't matter. For example, my wife, if you see, my wife and me, myself, our bodies are very different from each other. That's why we're together. That's why we're together. So differences in body, differences in mind, differences in thinking need not be differences in living. We form a variety. That's why we're together. That's why we formed a family. And there's so much of innovation inside. And what I see is, once you start exploring yourself with meditation, then you come face to face with the universal soul that you call God. witness to that, understand themselves. So spirituality is the art and science of understanding oneself. We help people understand themselves, but we don't give them any beliefs, any superstitions, any dogmas, any theories, nothing. Just sit down and you start looking within yourself and tell me what you experienced there. You don't you you don't have to agree with me. We always agree to disagree. That's fine. But once you go into a being and encounter your reality, my experience is your reality, Lord Buddha's reality, Lord Krishna's reality, Lord Jesus's reality, Saint Muhammad's reality, and my reality are not different. The truth is same. It has to be the same because we are part of one universe. See the name universe. Verse means kavita or slow. Uni means one. It is one liner universe. We're part of one thing. We're not different. But then this this realization and this coming to truth will take place once you get into meditation. Once you get into meditation, I think uh, few things I can few other things I can share with you because I have time with me. Cultural evolution. How do we evolve? Do we evolve when we say, no, my Hazurba used to do this, my Hazurama used to do this? That's fine. But we evolve. We evolve if we go into a basics. We evolve if we start going into a basics. And, you know, the best way to do this is meditation. Meditation is the art and science of facing one's own reality. Meditation does not take anything for granted. Meditation does not say you are a Hindu, you can do it, you are a Buddhist, you cannot do it, or you are a Christian, you cannot do it. No, meditation is universal. Just like any discoveries in the science, any discoveries in quantum mechanics, physics, medical science, spirituality is for all the human beings, and meditation is the tool to practice spirituality, to experience spirituality. Starting this November 4, we have a program in California, USA, and we call it Sambad. Sambad means communicating with one's own true self. We have two selves inside. One, the self that the society has given. That is an external self. There's a small letter self, a small letter yes self. There's another self that the society cannot give us, that we were born with, we will die with. It is indestructible. It is eternal. It is free of all pollutions. It is free of all dogmas and prejudices. That capital letter yes, self. So Sambad is the program to communicate with one's inner capital letter yes, self. So, wherever I go, I tell people, they may be Nepalese, and mostly I meet with our own people. I tell them, please start practice of meditation and see what happens to your family, what will happen to your life. Amazing things are going to happen. There's a miracle waiting for us. Let me repeat this again. There's a miracle waiting for us. And if you get knack of your meditation, if you get into your meditation, and if meditation happens, then I can tell you, I can give you a complete insurance that your stress, your worries, right, your miseries, anxieties, depression till now will be burnt to ashes. And what remains is again Sanatan Dharma. I cannot be a Sanatan Dharma Avalambi with stress. I cannot be a Sanatan Dharmavalambi with my worries, with my anxieties, with my miseries. To be a Sanatan Dharmavalambi, I have to transcend these things. And the one who gave us our life has given us a complete package. If you're born with problems, if you have been given problems, you have also been given solutions to solve this problem. So that solution, problem and solution package is one whole. I thank NRNA Canada and this wonderful people from NYCC. Even the name is so beautiful. Nepali Youth Community of Canada. This is how youths think. They think out of the box. If I were to think, I would have thought youth organization or something like this. But youths think differently. That's why they're going to make a mark. But we Nepalese now have to create mark wherever we go. We have to create an impact wherever we go. I thank Kalyan Thapaji for introducing me to this program in the beginning. And then there's so many people over involved. I don't know, maybe Sandesh Thapaji, Balikaji, and Homanaji, and so many other people who connected Jivan Vigyan with these wonderful organizations. I think I've used my time. Thank you, Rosa and Asta. Thank you, Asta, for that wonderful interaction, and also for this wonderful session. Thank you, Sudhodanji, for tolerating me these 20 minutes when you are in the same panel, okay, looking at each other. Thank you so much. I think you have made my evening. You and over to you, Asta.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Rosha,
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Sharma. Did you? So we do have a couple of follow-up questions. If you have time with us still, one of the things that you talked about that both me and Asta caught on was you said that we are, as youth, we're a generation of people who like to question everything, and I think you are very correct about that. And I think that's one of the reasons we feel that sort of cultural gap with our parents or our elders, is that we feel that we aren't allowed to question. If we disagree with our parents or our grandparents, if we disagree with our traditions, and that doesn't align with our values, it's oftentimes very difficult for us to voice that. So how would you suggest, and please, Mr. Baidia, you can chip in as well. How would you suggest, as parents and perhaps even grandparents, how can we begin to have that conversation, and how with our elder, and feel like our voices matter? How do we begin to bridge that gap where we're both having an equal conversation from both sides, where you're listening and we're talking, and then the same.
And just to add to that, just to put it on a more example level, like we've heard a lot of adults say things like "Sano bhaera धेरै नबोल," or "तिमीहरूको experience धेरै छैन, त्यही भएर तिमीहरूलाई थाहा नै छैन." So Roshaले पनि भर्खरै mentioned, I really appreciated the fact that you said हामीले question गर्नुपर्छ र हाम्रो individual experience फरक हुन्छ. त्यही भएर जुन त्यो age equals to experience, which is correct, but does age necessarily equal more knowledge, or does age necessarily mean you're always right? That was also something I wanted to add there. Question mark.
Oh. You want me to speak, or you want Sudhodanji to speak first?
Either of you, please.
You can speak first.
Thank you. You're very kind. Because I already spoke for 20 minutes. You want me to speak again? Okay. See, when youth interact with their parents or grandparents or elderly people, yes, you do not know, you do not have experience, you have not seen my part of the life, ek suka pani maile यसरी बचाएको थिएँ, even 25 pennies or whatever. When you hear this, yes, you'll find it difficult to digest this. You will find it difficult to tolerate this. But then, one thing is there. They have not seen your life. They saw their life some 25, 30, 50 years back. But now, they said age, probably up to 45 years, people question, but not after that, but not later than that. So when you talk to them, I think you must have a compassionate heart, that maybe one day, when I have seen so many things, I will also be, I will also be adamant on this, or I may also feel the same way. So this brings a lot of compassion, trying to understand what they are trying to say, what they are trying to feel. Another thing, let me tell you, once you start becoming old, there's so many things that challenge your life. And so you want to take so many things for granted because you don't want to challenge even health challenges, family challenges, financial insecurity. There's so many questions that that start coming to your life, that you're bogged down with questions, and you start becoming a lot of adamant on this. So it's okay for elderly people to be that, but you must understand and must have a compassionate heart, and trying to listen to what they are saying. Maybe at their age they are right, but they are not right when it comes to my age. So this feeling will certainly help you to connect with your elderly people. Another thing that Asta said, I think I like that so much. Experience doesn't mean 20 years experience doesn't mean I work for 20 years. If I did the same work for 20 years, my experience is only 1 year there. Okay. Have I done something new? Is there a novelty in what I'm doing? If I'm not creative enough, only creativity can add to my experience. A number of years, I also don't believe. I've been teaching for the last 40 years. I'm 50 years by now. I've been teaching for the last 40 years, but I don't say I have a 40 years experience in teaching. Maybe 2 or 3 years experience in teaching them. That's all. Because what I did new, what I understood, maybe 2 or 3 years only. Then it was simple rote knowledge that I had. Thank you so much. I think it's over to Sudhodhanji now.
Thank you, Banuji. Really like the question that Rosa has raised. It reminded me the time that when I spent with my parents, and I was still a kid, and then my mom or dad always used to tell me that, oh, you guys don't understand it now. When you grow up, when you have got a family, when you have got a children, then you will just realize all these kind of things. Yes, that is what is happening to me now. Uh, of course, different generations come with a different environment, so we always have to cooperate each other. We are living in the same community. As we said in Nepal, ek hath le tali bazdena, so you need to have both hands to make a beautiful sound and a clap. It's the same thing. So if we want to have the parents and the youth to have a good environment, both parties have to work to make it better. So I can talk about some of the skills. Parenting skills has changed over the years a lot, and that is what we are missing. Um, like when my parents were still alive, the parenting skills at that time was, just trying to control us. We were so scared of our mom and dad that if we make a little bit of mistake, we might will be in a big trouble. Uh, so uh, since I've been working in social worker industry, I have been to several parenting skill workshops, and that's where I suggest that most of the the adults, they can just go and attend. Another thing is the communication skills. Communication skills is also the key, because as a parents now, we use the same tone as what our parents used to tell us, and of course this may not work in this 21st century. And the same thing has to be learned by the youth as well, because the attitude makes a lot of difference. So both sides have to compromise in our attitude, and then we can make our life better.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Asta, did you want to continue?
Yeah, I actually had another question. This was a question that was raised by the youth. It's not audience, but
I can hear the background noise.
um,
Yeah.
am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so we actually had a very interesting question from one of our youth groups. It was mostly about disciplining children. So this is a really big generational topic that a lot of the youth here talks about. But disciplining layam, likosari manage gana saksong as parents, because back in the day, disciplining may have meant beating or abuse. Now disciplining has also changed, like Sudhanji mentioned. Parental skills have changed, parenting skills have changed. So what is your take on that? Like, I do know that a lot of kids, a lot of youth have felt that disciplining could almost be abuse even in today's day. So we're just wanting to ask you, what's the fine line there?
I think it is Sudodhan's turn now. I think I must give
Okay.
him the opportunity
Uh,
first.
so as I wanted to emphasize again is uh, compromising is the way uh, to um, to the solution, and you know try to understand more from the other point of view. And of course, it also applies to when you look for job or career, the counseling. Um, so I always suggest parents to think from your child's perspective. Try to understand, what they are thinking or what kind of things are going in their mind, and um, from the youth side as well, also try to understand that how can you do better to communicate with your parents, because what is happening here is parents try to use those old methods to discipline your kids, and then kids are just get frustrated and they just lock them up inside their room, and that's not also the way to solve the problem. So both sides, we have to think, how can we solve rather than how can we make this problem even bigger. So that's I think the key to discipline ourselves from the both sides.
Is
Perfect.
it
Thank you
my
very
turn?
much. Oh, yeah, please, if you
Or
have something to share.
yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. Yeah. No, all my life I have been fighting against one word, that's discipline. I'm a principal of a college that has 1,800 students. I've never yelled at my students. I never control. I never even think of disciplining. I try to be their friend in need. And I have over the period of time I've come to a very strong realization that self discipline is more important than anything else. So what I did, once we started Bagmati Safai Mahabhiyan, which is very popular, I for a few days I went alone. And then my kids started telling me, Baba, where are you going? Told them, see, we're cleaning Bagmati River, and we are cleaning this because we want to hand over very, very clean nature to you, to your generation. So, maybe, they thought that, yes, this makes some, this makes sense. So they started telling me, Baba, why can't we join you? So then my children started going with me. We used to go to Bagmati Safai every day. And then that realization, that understanding developed. And they started doing social service on their own. They started helping people on their own. Now they are doing small social service projects. But then it has come spontaneously. It has come as a matter of learning. It's not come as a discipline. You know, somehow human nature is not that it takes discipline positively. Nobody takes discipline positively. If it comes from within yourself, people are ready to do anything for what they love to do. But if they are told to do something, then there's a problem. This is not the problem today. This has been the problem for eons and eons now, and this is going to remain. So I think it is more important for parents to slowly help their children understand, know, and experience the reality firsthand, so that disciplining goes away, and somehow wisdom, understanding, cooperation, and a new term, collaboration, will come into the front line. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for both of you to share your thoughts on the questions that we had. It's a very interesting conversation, actually. I really liked a lot of your points. A lot of your points made me think as well. But just in the interest of time, I think we should move towards our second panelist, Mr. Boite's talk today. Mr. Boite, you have 20 minutes to talk to us about career counseling. And the reason why we brought you on for that particular topic was because one of the biggest transitions in the youth अहिले धेरै स्टुडेन्ट्सहरू कि त हाई स्कुलबाट ग्रेजुएट भइरहेछन् कि त युनिभर्सिटीबाट ग्रेजुएट भइरहेछन् अनि अब हाई स्कुल पछि पनि पार्ट टाइम जबहरू खोज्छन् स्कुलमा पढ्नलाई or like year gap लिन्छन् to save up for school. So there's a lot of resume writing, cover letter writing. So what do you have to say about that, and what are your tips and tricks भनेर आज हजुरलाई हाम्रो लागि career counseling? The floor is yours.
Thank you, Asta and Rosha, and for the NYCC as well as this NRA for organizing this event. I was accidentally been in this career counseling industry. I grew up in a small village. I would say maybe they used to say the city called Hetora. Then when I was just 18, I just went to study abroad to China. Everybody thought that I'm going to become a very good civil engineer, come back home and build the houses. So that was everybody thinking, and everybody had have been counting on me as civil engineer as my career. But after 38 years, what is happening? I am not practicing civil engineering. So I just want to share that what is career? Is career is making lots of money after you grew up? Is career is having a big reputation in your life? Is career is like you have a recognition from the society? What is career? So there is a different perspective of definition of career for different people. When I look back at my older generation, my parents, the career path in the 60s is just like riding a train. You just get on the train and it will just take a long ride. You'll be staying in the same career path until you get retired. And then what happened in 80s, like when I went to university, career path is just like riding a bus. Bus has a shorter routes, and I just take the bus. Maybe I will just go to my career for a couple of years, and then I just move on to different career. And look at now what is happening in 21st century. Career path is just like riding a bicycle. You cannot ride bicycle for a very long route these days because of the COVID. We have been riding bike, and then we can hardly do like 20 kilometers, 30 kilometers, and then we are done. So 21st century career means like you have a shorter path of career, and then you will move on to different careers. I believe on the world called happenstance. I don't know if you have heard about that word or not. Happenstance means you don't make decision on your career by yourself. Your career is decided by the environment of where you live. Your career is decided by some of the realistic goals, career has been decided by the network that you have been developing, um, and and there are many different the things that might influence your career. But one thing that all the youth have to remember is when you just wanted to develop your career, try to focus on your passion. You just try to concentrate on what you are good at. So while I finished my civil engineering education back then in 1987, I tried hard to look for civil engineering jobs, but I just couldn't find it. So I have to live in some survival jobs, and that's how the my career has completely changed 180-degree from some engineering to the sales and marketing. And then I decided, okay, then this is the right time for me to do the MBA in marketing. And um, I did my MBA in marketing, but that led me to the advertising business somehow, where I have to do lots of marketing, sales, and I spent like 8 years, and I was very, very successful, uh, in advertising sales as well. Uh, while I was doing marketing, I was also working as the sales in United Nations Children's Fund for almost 8 to 9 years. So when I first started my sales career, I was even not outspoken. I was a shy guy. I was an introvert person. But that environment made me speak more to the public, to the audience, without any hesitation. And I built up my skills um, without knowing that I'm going to different career. So uh, for the youth, I would suggest that when you just talk about career, there's not a single answer where you wanted to go. Um, as uh, there are so many situations that happened to me. Was I started as advertising sales in Vancouver, and then I had an opportunity to go and take the career counseling courses. And in career counseling courses, people talk about uh, how do you make how do you decide your career. So there's a special course called career decision making. And in career decision making, you can take. There's many tools, that you can just take. You can just exercise to look at, what are you good at. Um, so um, and also the writing resume. As like as a senior manager now, I have interviewed like more than hundreds of people. As a career counselors, as I also the guided more than 100 people on how to look for your uh, right path of the job that you like. A couple of things, for example, say for the new immigrants, they do not understand the labor market of Canada, for example. So labor market of Canada is very different than the labor market in Nepal or labor market in China or other countries. So if you really wanted to make the decision on your career, then you should understand what kind of industries are there in Canada, what kind of occupations are more popular are there in Canada. So I just wanted to give a little bit of uh, you know introduction about the industry. So in Canada, we have 80% are service industries, and we have 80% of the businesses are the small businesses. So we also call that in Canada, small business, in fact, is a big business. And uh, you have to, make such a decision that because you have got your interest. Yeah, so you have to evaluate your interest. you have to evaluate your personality, you have to evaluate your passion, and then you might have to think like which pathway that you can go. So just to give you an example, that when I went to study as a civil engineering, I was very good in math. And then now, as a senior manager in this social service agency, I have become the teacher to all other managers on how to manage the money, because we are funded by the government. But with my math skills, I have become the teacher. I'm not only the managing the one 2.5 million budget uh, uh, program, but I have been doing many things in my site as well. So uh, there are many tools that many youth might have been gone through, and there are many government-funded agencies, who are also can help the youth on, the uh, meeting uh, employer with the youth, or even with the adult. So there's so many events are happening. So as a Nick, or as the NCSBC, there could be something like the being a middle person to communicate with the youth as well as the event organizers. So that really might help a lot. Okay, talking about Bhanu's that meditation. Um, my meditation is my sports career. I spend lots of time on sports. I spend lots of time on doing Sudoku. That is my, the part of my meditation that helped me a lot in my career. So I don't know if you have ever played Sudoku or not. Sudoku will give you a skill to think everything logically, and that is very important for the youth when you are growing up. Uh, you have to utilize your skills to to overcome all your barriers and then move forward. Uh, when I was working as a employment counselor, I also organized Toastmasters. I you know the I started Toastmasters Club for 7 years, and that is also another skills um, for most of the youth who might wanted to go to choose your own career. So what does Toastmasters give? Toastmasters give you a networking opportunity. So I don't know if you have heard about that or not. Your network is your net worth. Network is very important, because if you really wanted to get into one career, you only need one job, but you might have been searching for like thousands of jobs. So only one person might have to accept your skills, as well as uh, you know uh, the employer have to be convinced on what you can do. So I really uh, strongly encourage the youth group to get into this kind of networking events. Uh, and Toastmasters also gives you the opportunity to build up your confidence, and then that is very linked to the interview skills, because when you are going for any job interviews, even you might have your skills, but if you do not have a good communication skills on what you can do, because interview skills is basically is selling yourself. If you cannot sell yourself, you cannot find a good job that what you wanted. So Toastmasters taught me that kind of skills, and that's how I also guided so many youth as well as adults through Toastmasters to build up their skills. Um, and also, in when you are choosing a career, one of the major skill is problem solving skills, which uh, you know we have to learn from our daily life. So as when you asked, and Rosa was asking, uh, how can we connect youth to the parents? That is a problem solving skills. So you have to build up your problem solving skills from your home, and then to the society, and then to your the working environment. So always encourage youth to uh, think of what kind of problems that there could be, uh, and then uh, as Bhanuji said, that maybe you can just meditate to think, because you might what is happening is we youth or even adults are not thinking of what kind of problems are there. So if you cannot think of the problems, you don't know how to solve those problems. So try to uh, evaluate the kind of problems, and then uh, you can think of how to solve it. So there are many resources on internet. So that is the one of the major advantage for the youth is, nothing is hidden these days. Everything is available in internet. I watch like TED Talks. TED Talks talk about the uh, you know the uh, uh, the career pathways, or there are many um, government websites, like for Canada, for BC, for example, there's a Welcome BC website. Even some of the colleges' website, they also have the guide on how to choose your career. So let me see, what is my time? Is it 15 minutes? Do you want still me to keep going, or you have some question to ask?
We do have some.
Go
Asa,
for it.
do you want to go ahead? You just posted a question. Am I right? Or if you want me to go first, I can go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay. So one of the questions that I feel like it comes up a lot when we're talking about youth and career is that there is this sort of like societal expectation that comes with being, I feel like, I mean, I can say Nepali, but it's generally an Asian thing where a lot of us are expected to go pursue, STEM careers, and that certain other careers that are not, that don't fit into that characteristics are considered inferior. So, a lot of times we're pushed towards engineering or medicine or law. And it's really hard for those of us who have passions towards more art oriented, career. So how do you, I guess, how do we approach that societal expectations? How do we keep ourselves from not feeling like disappointed, and kind of like balancing career with our passions, if that makes any sense?
Yeah, I think that not only is happening within the Nepali community, or it is happening with every single community. Being abroad for more than 38 years, I have met people from all over the world. So it is, all parents have their expectations for their children to choose one career path. But one of the things that maybe parents might have been missing is the world has changed. We are not in our 20th century or 18th century. We are living in the 21st centuries. You know, by the time, when I was choosing my career, I even did not know that, I could go abroad on a scholarship. Uh, I just happened to be with my friends, who knew that ideas. And when, for example, so when I applied to Canada, even internet was not that popular, and we have to rely on papers. Somebody might have given us the some information, and based on that information we used to write letters, and then that's how we grew up. But the youth these days are different. Uh, every single information are there on the internet for youth to digest. Of course, youth also have courses at school on how to uh, choose your career path. By then, in when we are young, we even didn't have that. And uh, like say China or Nepal, we even do not have this government agencies who provide this kind of free services on guiding people uh, on choosing the career. So my suggestion for parents is we not only think of educating our children, but we also have to be educated from the children's perspective, because the children have the information, so broad information that we may not know because we are focusing on our own daily work or something like that. So, um, for example, my own uh, situation. My parents thought that I'm going to be the very successful civil engineer, and I landed in uh, working as employment counselor, and then now I'm a senior manager in one of the biggest social service agency. You might have also heard about many popular people, like for example, say Alibaba owner Jack Ma. He has never thought that he's gonna be the one of the world's richest person. He was just a simple English teacher, and then but the environment changed him to come to this kind of path. Like if I talk about my family, because my dad was in the medical field, so most of my nephews and nieces are all in medical field. I have like 4 nieces are medical doctors. Um, so so they were influenced by their parents. But what I say that children might have different um, personality. Children might have different uh, like interest. So we have to give opportunity for children to make decision as well. And at the same time, we also want to hear more from children on why they are choosing this career path, or why, so this is again, we come back to the skills, is a communication skills or parenting skills. So it's not like only one thing is um, involved. There are many factors are involved.
Can I add a few things to what Sudarshanji had to say? Well, we have we offer a training program on career development. The name of the program is Aishwarya Bigyan, a very different. Where what people do is there's a 33-hour intensive training program that helps youths to understand what their life's primary goal is, what their passion is. Sudarshanji was talking about passion, and not just passion. Trying to figure out what I really like, and then trying to find that balance between the market demand and my passion. There's a thin line of there's a thin line that can balance. And at the end of this 33-hour long Aishwarya Began program, we come up with a 10-year work plan, action plan. People come up with 10-year action plan, because a career is not just something that happens to you. That career is something that you create. Crafting, I call it. Rather than creating a career, I call it crafting a career. And what happens is, you cannot compromise on your passion, but then the demand outside may be very different. So in that case, what you can do is you can add so much skills to the passion. at this point, when you're so passionate about something, it's not enough. Just having passion is not enough. You need skill. Maybe you need an academic degree, and you need that persistence. You need that persistence. You need something known as intrapreneurial skills to market your passion, and to make it public, and to take it along to your employer. So I would really love youths to go with their passion, to follow their passion, because heart does not speak anything wrong. It always says something right, but we are unable to understand it. But then we need the skill to make it marketable and market sellable. Thank you.
I'm going to ask a follow-up question from our audience. Question it says, keeping our passion at bay and adjusting it to the industry outlook, most of the time it's disappointing. How do youth as us manage our own and employers' expectations? So I think it's more about like employer relations, like expectations. Manage considering that jobs. Just my tips and tricks. Anyone can speak, please feel free.
So finding a job or working a job is just like, it's a marriage. So sometimes, we might have to give up something, or that's what I say, compromise, because we might have grown up in a different environment. We might have grown up with different education. And then our education might have come from our school, or from parents, or from friends. But when you just go into the one of the say employer might have a different culture. So we have to match this culture. So both sides have to compromise in such a way. So that's why that's how that employer and employee can work together. So I have hired more than 100 people in my life, and I always find that some of the employees might have different skills than others. So I always try to utilize what are they good at, and then I'm just trying to provide that kind of work to them, so that they are satisfied and I am satisfied. Finding a good job, or is more about the satisfaction. So if you are not satisfied, you will never feel like you're happy to the work that you think. So as far as you are satisfied, even that job may not be your passionate job, you will survive very well. So that's my few cents.
All right, thank you. I have one last question for you for this particular topic. It is how I think this might be specifically for Sudamdunji, because this is Canadian region oriented. But what are some of the specific tools, networking events, examples that maybe you have or you've previously hosted that might be happening in the future? If there are any, like where can we look to find these events and job opportunities? So if you can talk a little bit about the specifics of that, that would be great.
So there are many government-funded programs. So mainly there are two parts. One is the settlement agencies, which are federally funded, and there are employment programs which are provincially funded. I'm in Vancouver, so I can just give example about British Columbia. So in British Columbia, there are many work BC centers where there are employment counselors who can just do the case management for any person who wants to look for a job. Similarly, there are settlement agencies. There are 91 settlement agencies in all over British Columbia. So there are many employment counselors as well, and there are many employment counselors who also can speak different languages. So language is not a problem, because when new immigrants comes, they might have some barriers with the language. So settlement agencies also can help on that. So both, no matter work BC centers or settlement agencies, uh, uh, youth can go through some of the exercise called like a personality dimension test, or there's I don't know if you have heard about the one psychologist here. His name is John Holland. So John Holland um, was wrote a book about how to choose a career. So he even have the the choosing career path dictionary, where you might have to go through the some of the questions and answers, and then that will give you some of the code, very similar to MBTI. Maybe you might have heard about that Myers Briggs types indicator. So John Holland has his own 4 letters code, and then once you answer those questions, and if you go to some of the websites, you can also find free test samples from John Holland, and then based on your code, uh, he has got a dictionary, and then you can choose what kind of careers, what kind of occupations falls under your personality test. There are some also books called "What Color Is Your Parachute." I love that book. That will give you some of the guide on which direction that you can go to look for your job. I also love some of the books called Seven Habits of Highly Effective People, um, or I don't know if you have heard about the book called Who Moved My Cheese. That is very tiny book. You can also watch that on your YouTube. That really inspired me on, as Bhanuji was saying, that getting like persistence, like what is your goal? You have to first identify where is your end, and then when you know your end, then you can start uh, the planning on your pathways to your career. um, One of the book that I love as well is called Rich Dad Poor Dad. Rich Dad Poor Dad also teach you how to do the financial management, but financial management is in one side, but the other side is also the how you are analyzing the people's the skills. um, and there are many resources, like in a TED talk. I think you can just go and have a look. Uh, for uh, the uh, uh, the database of the industries, there's a BC Stats, where you can just find on a monthly basis on what industries are doing well at what time period, and based on that you can also uh, do some analysis, because your passion has to match with what is available. So that helped me a lot on um, making analysis on the Canada's labor market. So that's what I have. And if you go to the Vancouver Public Library websites, there are also teen advisory group. There is a teen book club. There are teen volunteering. The link. So there are many things that you can just look into the Vancouver VPL website as well. And of course, there are many job search websites that they also give you many guidelines, like monster.ca or workpolicy.ca or indeed.ca. There are many jobs are also posted in Craigslist, but uh, I would just warn every youth that you have to be very careful on scam, because that's also I teach most of the job seekers, because there's scammers just try to scam you, just telling you that I offer you the job, uh, and they have got very bad consequences after that.
Thank you so much for sharing all those resources. I was actually taking notes as we speak, so I have all of these tabs open with all these new books that I have to read. So there's that, and I can really attest for Toastmasters as well. From previously what Mr. Boyd was talking about, I actually had the privilege of joining his Toastmasters class, and it definitely helped me with my interviews, especially. It really taught me how I can sell myself, and I landed jobs that I didn't even like in technology, which I didn't even study. So it really is about selling yourself, and Toastmasters definitely helps. I just wanted to test for that. So we are actually going to wrap up now, and we would like to thank Mr. Vaidya for your attendance and your talk. It was very helpful, especially for new immigrants and youths. Career counseling has been a very important topic, and unfortunately, Bhanu Sharmaji had to leave because it is past 10 p.m. in Nepal right now as well. So he dropped out earlier, and we do thank him, and hopefully we get to work with you both again. Rosha, do you want to say anything?
Thank you so much for yeah. I just want to say for the resources, I am thinking definitely of putting together a resource booklet that we'll be sharing with the NYCC group and followers. Thank you so much.
Yeah, and I just wanted to say a little blurb about NYCC. NYCC को लागि हामी regional coordinators हरु खोजिरहेको छौं. We are looking for regional coordinators, youth बाट, any age between age 15 to 30 अब प्लस माइनस कति हुन्छ युथ जे हो NYCC को हरेक प्रोभिन्समा हामीलाई रिप्रेजेन्टेटिभ चाहिरहेछ. त्यही भएर सबै अङ्कल आन्टीहरूलाई हजुरको छोराछोरीहरू इन्ट्रेस्ट गर्छन् भने प्लिज NYCC लाई इन्स्टाग्राम या फेसबुकमा मेसेज गर्नु होला हाम्रो एउटा कोअर्डिनेटर बन्नलाई. थ्याङ्क यू. And thank you, NRNA, for letting us host this talk today.
Thank you very much.
All right, and we would like to take your leave, and happy Dasai.
Happy Dasai. Please stay safe.
Thank you. Happy Dasai.
Happy Dasai. Bye. We'll sign off.